the most memorable Ren and Stimpy episode is where it was like their car broke down and it was raining, it's storming its ass off outside, and so they made it to this guy's house. He's like, boys, do you want to hear a joke? They're like, I guess, sir. He's like, why did they bury the fireman on the side of the hill? Yeah, I don't know. Why? It's like, because he was dead. And he's laughing, and they're like, we got to get out of here, Stimpy. And like, I always remember that joke. I remember thinking, like, that joke is not funny, but the older I get, the funnier it gets. Of course, he was dead. That's why they buried him. What a dry humor fucking joke. Because he was dead. And they're like, we're going to die. We need to get out of here.
Oh, hey, yeah, bourbon.
Yes, we have some more bourbon to try. Welcome, dear listener, to another episode of Savor the Burn. I am Jonathan. Across the table from me is Mr. Wayne Wilkes. We call him W2. And today, we are going to try the Sweetens Cove Kennessee, with a K, Kentucky and Tennessee bourbon whiskey. Give us a little backstory on this.
Man, I am excited about this bottle.
I am too.
First off, gotta throw the shot out there. You know, I've talked earlier about my sister and all the cool ass gifts she's given me over the years to extend my bar wear and
yeah, it's probably a few episodes ago.
Yeah, definitely at this point. But my daughter just visited her recently, and when she came back home, my sister sent her home with some goodies for me, and this is a bottle that she sent back. So it's a distillery that she's been to at least once. I think maybe a couple times now. I don't know if I'm scared or just puzzled, or for whatever reason, she has told me that her and my brother-in-law Tim have definite opinions about this one.
Definite opinions.
But wanted to wait till we have a chance to try it before sharing.
Okay.
And so I was just like...
Did they get a bottle, or did they get a taster of it?
They've tasted it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, does that mean you liked it or you didn't like it?
Yeah.
Aside from that, I'm very excited about this one. Just with a little bit of the research that I've done on it and learned about Sweetens Cove, and specifically this one. Like I said, this one is it's called Kennessee, and that's because it's a blend of Kentucky and Tennessee bourbon. And what I think is very, very cool and very exciting about this one is their master distiller, Marianne Eves, is Kentucky's first female master distiller since Prohibition. There's part of me that's actually kind of surprised to hear that by saying that implies that there was a female master distiller pre-Prohibition.
Right. And it makes me think...
Kind of like, boggles my mind a little bit.
How has there not been...
But since then...
Like so, in the history of it. I mean, how could women not be involved in this stuff? But... And whatever the answer may be, it's very, very, very interesting.
You know, I mean, what a resume just right off the bat.
And maybe there have been some lay distillers, but she's definitely the first female bourbon master distiller since Prohibition. And you think in Prohibition times they had labels like that, master distiller. Come meet our master distiller, star.
Oh, I absolutely think that there was a head distiller, master distiller.
Okay, so I'm thinking master distiller is probably like master gardener. There has to be some kind of schooling involved, and like you have to earn this degree or something like that. But no, this is probably master distiller as in like the lead distiller of the company.
Yeah.
Or the like the supervisor or whatever, or the owner of the company. It's all semantics with these damn words.
Yeah, but it says here that born in Tennessee and raised in Kentucky. So, I mean...
Right. So
right
that's
place,
be
right time.
Where the fun little play on words Kennessee has to come from.
Yeah.
It's Kentucky and Tennessee bourbon whiskeys just blended, finished with toasted sugar, maple wood. And if you've ever worked with sugar maples, the wood is not really reliable as far as its strength and durability goes. I've never worked with it in a whiskey barrel or cask sense of the word, so I can only hope that the flavor profile after it's been scorched, after it's been fired or whatever, it really enhances the usual vanilla smell that you'll get off an oak barrel. Hopefully it'll bring some kind of mapley, kind of a different complex sweetness to it. Mm-hmm. On the nose, it doesn't really smell very distinct. It smells appley.
I'm getting some orange.
I think orange, fruity. Yeah. We'll say fruity or orchard-like.
Yeah, I'm getting the orange peel. Definitely some fruit.
Yeah, I'm almost intimidated
and there's
by
oak.
It because of what your sister said.
This is also
and her husband said.
This is also 110 proof.
Oh, okay.
So This is definitely the hottest one we've had in quite a while.
All right, let's give it a little mouth and see what we think. Okay, so the fruitiness follows through from nose to mouth. It initially hit me with some oak that you were picking up on the nose.
There's a lot going on there.
There is. There's more going on there than I would have expected. And like you said, what was the proof?
110.
110.7 proof.
Yeah.
So I was expecting some heat, and by golly, this has it. It's par for the course as far as heat goes. I wouldn't call it particularly spicy. Like there's not like the black pepper or the rye in there, but it's got something going on here.
It has a very long finish, but it's a very creamy, smooth finish.
It's creamy. The finish, like sometimes the flavor right after you taste it, it hits you and it just disappears, or it hits you and then it changes into something else. This is a very solid, steady, continual flavor in the finish for me so far. It doesn't come until much later, and it's caramely. Do we have tasting notes on this one?
The tasting notes on the website that I found say warm toasted oak, graham cracker, rich mulled spice, and orange peel, hint of dried pome fruit, and sweet warm caramel, vanilla, and baking spice. Hint of citrus, gentle chewy oak. I don't know if I've chewed on any oak
I have
lately.
not.
Easy, creamy, mid-palate for a long, lingering warmth. Sweet, soft, woodsy finish.
That's very descriptive. As you're going through that, I'm trying to like mentally reverse engineer everything that you're saying, but like, goodness, that's a lot to kind of mentally unpack. I see it on my notes right now. It's in bold type. You'd think I would have seen that.
I tried.
You know what? You did your job, sir.
$60 bottle.
So I was for $60.
$59 bottle.
It's super complex, that's for sure. And this one, I would definitely suggest you hitting it with half an ice cube, kind of pull back some of the proof, and hopefully enhance some of the different flavors that they're talking about.
With picking up a little bit of that orange peel just right on the nose, and
you picked it up on the nose.
The palate. I bet this with just dehydrated orange slice dropped in it and leave it alone. Could be good. Of course, we're not going to leave it alone.
No, we are going to make this into a cocktail. Tell us about the cocktail.
So this last week, I was just kind of looking for something new to try, and I was just kind of tripped down memory lane and just thinking about, what have I had in the past? What have I not had in a while? And an amaretto sour came to mind. So I started doing a little bit of research. I couldn't quite remember, what is an amaretto sour other than the obvious in the name. So I started doing a little bit of research, and I came across a couple variants on it that were an amaretto sour with a little bit of a bourbon variant. And so I started kind of playing around with that a little bit. And I've modified it a little bit from every recipe that I had the amaretto at 1.5 ounce with a 1/2 ounce of bourbon.
A 1/2 ounce.
And it was fantastic like that. It was really good, but it was also very, very sweet. So I'm not really altering the recipe that much. I just bumped it from a 1/2 ounce to a full ounce. Give a little bit more of a bourbon forward.
We've talked about this before. Most bourbons are inherently sweet.
Right.
This one, I don't pick up on the sweetness until the finish.
Yeah.
The finish is, I don't know if it's caramely, but it's sweet and in a vanilla-y, super light, citrusy creaminess. So I'm interested to hear more about.
And for those that don't know,
your cocktail here,
which I did not know, Sweetens Cove actually is a 9-hole golf course.
What?
Yes, and I did not mark down all of the owners of it, but 2019, it says a group of friends bought Sweetens Cove. One of those group of friends is Peyton Manning.
Oh, okay.
So that group of friends, including Peyton Manning,
the sports ball guy,
bought this golf course because of the breathtaking setting of it. The Appalachian Mountains in that area are just amazing.
Huh.
Visiting my sister, I know why she moved out there from St. Louis. And
I haven't seen them. I've only seen the western mountain range, the Cascades and the Rockies. I haven't seen the Appalachian, or if you're locals, the Appalachian mountain range.
Yeah, she's in Knoxville, which, if I remember correctly, she's about maybe 30-40 minutes from Gatlinburg.
Okay.
Which is where all the moonshine tastings happen. Yeah, so Peyton Manning. I'm not a overly sports ball kind of a
I'm
guy.
not either. I respect it for what it is, but
I'm super excited for our Chiefs, and it gets fun to watch. Definitely not the sports ball guy. But
I did run out and buy the T-shirt and the ball cap, but
I have not.
I have not run out and bought the tattoo. And I don't think I'm going to.
Not going to get the tattoo, but I have considered doing. They've got a black Super Bowl champ shirt that I thought was kind of cool. But Peyton Manning graduated from the university there in Knoxville.
Why did I think he was a Denver guy, like a Colorado guy? Did he play for?
He was in Denver for a while.
Okay. My limited. I have a very dear listener. I have a very very limited knowledge base on all things sports ball related.
But he's all about Tennessee. And so him being one of this group of friends bought the golf course, and it says here that and a shot of whiskey on the first tee. Sweetens never had a clubhouse or even plumbing, but it was one of the most acclaimed sporting experiences in the world and was building its own traditions. One of those, a celebratory shot of whiskey for first-timers on the first tee.
Oh, wow.
So it sounds like they built the distillery there basically on the golf course.
Huh. It sounds like a great place to visit.
Yeah.
I've never played golf. I've been to Top Golf. For those, it's kind of like a...
I've never done that.
It was the first time I ever tried, anything involving a golf club.
I've done miniature golf. That's about all I
had never done that. I just living close to a little I don't know what would you call Cool Crest.
Oh, that's putt-putt.
Putt-putt golf.
Yeah,
I'd never, living really close to that for, the entirety of my life. I've never been to a putt-putt golf, let alone a driving range or anything like Top Golf, which is like a driving range. But, I mean, there's different, like your goals or whatever it is that you're trying to hit are like here, there, and everywhere.
In the middle of Westport, there's, I think it's Manor Square. Tivoli's inside there. There used to be a brewery, which was right next door to the Beaumont Club. And there's a couple other things that's in there. But you know what I'm talking about? That center, I think it's Manor Square is what it's called. But it's definitely not a mall, but there's kind of an inside place. And so anyway, long story short, I grew up in St. Louis. I moved to Kansas City in 91 to go to the Art Institute. Parents dropped me off. They moved me in. Mom cries her eyes out. They leave, go back to St. Louis. I'm here pretty much first time all by myself in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Make some friends on campus. But I think it might have been like the first weekend that I was here. Someone was talking about this place called Westport. And so, and I'm an August birthday. So I'm barely 18 at the time. I graduated when I was 17, almost turning 18, and then I turned 18 and I'm off to college the next day. So definitely not of drinking age.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going along on this adventure where this group of friends they're walking to Westport from the Art Institute. And so I tagged along, and I definitely didn't drink that time. We discovered, and I don't even remember the name of the place, but there was some place in the Manor Square in the middle of Westport where there was an inside glow-in-the-dark putt-putt golf range in this bar. It couldn't have been more than like 4 or 8 holes at the most. Blacklight putt-putt golf, and quite a few of the people on that trip got a little schnockered.
Schnockered.
And I recall being one of the sober ones that helped herd the group back to the Art Institute.
Well, at some point in all of our lives, we have to be that person to just, help everybody out and get their happy asses back to where they belong. Yeah, outdoor, are you familiar with Char Bar?
Char Bar is actually a really cool place, yeah.
Is that the place that had the...
No, Char Bar is what used to be the Beaumont Club. So
I remember Beaumont Club, but next door to it was outdoor, they had cornhole, they had the different things. That was all part of Beaumont Club?
That's part of the Beaumont Club, yeah, because the Beaumont...
No shit. I thought it was two different businesses.
The Beaumont Club had the inside venue,
yeah,
but then you go on the backside and they had sand volleyball and then the outdoor bar where they had salsa dancing and all kinds of...
Well, shit.
Those might be other stories for other times, but...
I don't have any of them, unfortunately.
But that's all now the Char Bar, and the Char Bar has... I don't know if it's putt-putt that they have, but they have, I think they have, horseshoes. They've got...
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, It's kind of like a giant pool table, but you kick, the soccer ball in kind of a...
Huh.
Is it soccer pool or whatever? Soccer, billiards?
I don't know. It sounds cool. Huh. Yeah,
and the fire pits.
I never went in there. I did see the fire pits. I did see the at one point. I don't know if they still have it, but the volleyball, the sand volleyball. I thought,
they still have some of those.
Well, that's weird, but
they have.
I never went in there.
They have amazing dragon fruit tacos.
Sounds really good.
Grilled dragon fruit is awesome.
It's very unique. Mm-hmm. Very unique, and a little chewier than I thought it would be. They shred it to where it actually has the texture of kind of a shredded pork or a shredded chicken. Okay.
In a street taco.
Okay.
Type of a setup, and then
seasoned
with a little bit of a barbecue sauce on there, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Huh.
I really like this bourbon.
It's really good. I like it. Sweetens Cove, Kennessee, Kentucky, and Tennessee bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, I mean there's so many flavors going on that...
So your sister got this locally for her. Does this appear locally for us?
I don't think it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking on their website, there's nowhere close by us that you can actually get this.
Now, on the very super long back end of the finish, I'm picking up a brininess.
Okay.
And it's way on the back end, but I don't know. Now that we've tasted it, I wonder what your sister has to say about it.
Yeah, I'm really kind of curious.
And we can't call her now because it's damn near midnight where she is.
Yep.
Unfortunately, but we are going to.
I might ask her to do an audio recording note of her thoughts on it and send it to me. And
yeah. Her and her husband. Does she and her husband agree on their assessments?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
No,
okay.
She has not said.
So she wanted to wait until you tried it to say anything about it. She didn't want to cloud your so I mean, you look at the bottle on the front, okay, so start from nose to toes, right? You go from the very top. The stopper
is so impressive.
It's this marbled kind of beautiful wood stopper with a chrome medallion at the top, silver, chrome, whatever, and then it's got a ring around it, midway through the top of the stopper, cork that fits into the bottle, of course.
It is actually a cork stopper, not the plastic whatever.
Right. Yeah.
The fake
right
material. It's the
and
quality.
That fake material,
cork.
like depending on how it sits, I mean, it could alter the taste of the whiskey or the spirit inside the bottle just slightly. But I mean, and then the label on the neck. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what they would call this. It's like a little collar,
neck
the
label.
ring, the neck label. It's kind of ribboned here, and it says "Rivals No More." Then on the flip side, it says "Kindred Spirits." You don't know what that's all about. And then you flip it over on the back, and on the very top of the label, it says, "Did we just become best friends?" And like if you've seen Step Brothers, you get the reference. You get the reference, but it just makes you think that the folks at this distillery have a great sense of humor, and they obviously care about their product. The face label. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's got the best design, and if you're in view of the Appalachian mountain range, you would think that maybe they would put something like that on the label, but they don't, and that's fine.
But see the color stripes on there, to me, I actually see the Appalachian Mountains, and the Appalachian Mountains, the Smoky Mountains are the Smoky Mountains because of the fog and everything that kind of comes up from.
Okay. So with your experience of that region, you totally get this.
All those different blue shades on there, to me, is the atmosphere of the Smoky Mountains that you see with all the different layers.
Man, I have got to get my ass out that direction so I can see that stuff for myself.
It's pretty breathtaking.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Mountains in general are, like, especially if you're up in them and you're looking around and, like, you think you're way up high in the air and you see way down below.
Right.
And, like, the people aren't even ants. They're just, like, you don't even see the people. All you see is silhouettes or whatever, like, Legoland buildings or whatever of their tallest buildings in the civilization. And then you look up and behold, there's more mountains. So you're not even in the highest spot in the area. And that's just in the Rockies or the Cascades. But the Appalachians is something I have yet to experience, and I really want to. But it says here on the back, I'll read it verbatim. It says, "Who better than Master Blender Marianne Eves to bring the heated, historic rivalry of Kentucky and Tennessee bourbon together in one bottle? These proud rivals share a commitment to craftsmanship and culture, land and legacy. Now, experience one delicious and dynamic blend among friends." It says here, we can still pick sides about horses or football, alma maters or music. Either way, let's raise a glass and celebrate our common love for damned good bourbon whiskey. I would agree with that assessment.
True that.
I'm definitely, I'll raise a glass in toast and in honor of that sentiment for sure. We are so divided nowadays when it comes to anything: politics, religion, professional wrestling. It doesn't matter what it is. If there's a point to be made, there's a counterpoint to follow it right up. And it's just so exhausting. I mean, I mentioned that I listened to Time Suck by comedian and host Dan Cummins. I'm way behind on the podcast episodes, but yesterday, whatever, I've been listening to the Holocaust episodes. It's a two-parter. He made a point to bring out some of the people involved in these abhorrent atrocities. They thought that they were doing the right thing. They would be good fathers. They would go home and after a long day at work, committing these atrocities, they would go home, like their home life. They go home, they love their dog, they pet their cats, they hug their children, they provide for their families. They're active members in their church. They're loving husbands, caring fathers, all the things. And then they go to work and the switch is flipped, and they're separating families between who looks good and who might be sick or not as strong, separating them right when they get off the train. One goes to a camp so they can work themselves to death, and the other line goes straight to a gas chamber, and everybody fucking dies. And it's an awful dichotomy that those people had to live with and make peace with, and in the end, they were not at peace with it. But on a much more superficial scale, we get to pop culture topics such as, politics, religion, and professional wrestling, or anything that goes on with the evening news. We can be so divided on so many topics that we don't realize that we are all just human, and we all kind of want the same things. We want to provide for our kids. We want our friends and loved ones and our children to have a good education. We want a strong military to defend us against, foreign forces. We want a government that doesn't have their head up their ass. But with this bourbon, what it's trying to suggest is that we all see the humanity in one another, and we toast to that, and we toast to each other, because even though we may be divided on certain subjects, in the end, we're all human. We all stink if we don't shower. We all just want to have good times and hang out with good people. So I totally get that sentiment, and that's one of the things about human nature that I love and adore, and I can wax poetic on that for a very long time. But idealistically, that's where I want to live. Realistically, I know the world that we live in. It's very scary. It's very dangerous. But that said, you got anything left in there?
I don't.
Hang on. Hold on. There we go. We'll make a little toast here real quick to friends, to family, to the decent end of the spectrum of humanity, and hope and kindness and love.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is a tasty and unique bourbon whiskey. It does have a sweet, soft, woodsy finish. And that lingering warmth that you talk about here in your bold lettering on your notes that I somehow didn't see before, it's there. And it's present, and it's very nice. I like it.
And I don't know if the Amaretto Bourbon Sour is the right cocktail for this. We're going to try it anyway. And maybe it's not, but
I have little to no experience with amaretto. You have is all amaretto almond based?
It is.
Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty sure.
So amaretto brings a lot of almond, and that's the variant recipe that I found suggested introducing the half ounce of bourbon to it to help push that almond flavor and kind of hold it at bay a little bit and give it something to balance with, so that it's not overly all almond, balancing it with those vanilla and caramel and toffee notes of a bourbon. I
would expect that the other ingredients that we have gotten to, the simple syrup, the lemon juice, and the bourbon would offset the almondy ness or whatever of the amaretto. Almonds, while nutty, they do have a unique sweetness to them.
Absolutely.
Have you had honey that is from hives exclusively from almond fields?
I have not.
As far as honey goes, it's probably on the bitter end of the spectrum because almonds are inherently bitter. But no honey is bitter. It's all sweet. So I expect that. But honestly, I've never had amaretto, so I don't know. Like you said amaretto maybe a few weeks ago when you were mixing up some of your cocktails here at home, unrelated to this specific cocktail. And I thought amaretto was the cherry flavored liqueur or whatever. What was that?
Dasani?
Dasani?
No, that's a water.
Brought to you by the Coca-Cola Company. What is that shit? What am I thinking here? Cherry. Well, the good thing is I've completely wasted all this time trying to figure out what it is I'm looking for, because I am not finding it. Son of a bitch! Fuck it. It doesn't matter. I thought amaretto was a cherry flavored thing, but no, it's almond. So if I can figure out what the hell that cherry shit was, maybe it would be great with almond, because cherry and almond go great together in a cobbler or a dump cake. Because for those of you that don't know, dear listener, I'm also a Betty Crocker at heart. I'm a gardener. I'm a whiskey taster. I'm a fucking metalhead. And I love cooking and baking. Sweet, delicious yum-yums. One thing we have not addressed is at the very end of this ingredient list.
Yes. So this
is something I've never had in a cocktail. Or ever heard of putting in a cocktail.
Are you up for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've never had it. I want to try it.
This is an ingredient that there's a handful of cocktails that have it, and most of them, it's an optional ingredient.
Okay.
My take on it is, well, if it's an ingredient that's supposed to be in there, it's supposed to be in there.
It's supposed to be in there for a reason.
So, yeah, we're going to throw an egg white in the shaker, and the violent shaking of the shaker kind of froths and whips the egg up, and so as you pour this into your glass over the ice, it actually leaves a nice frothy head, if you will, on top of the cocktail, and gives it a very nice contrast of a little nice gradation of color as you look down through the side of the glass.
Yeah, and this cocktail name is the Amaretto Bourbon Sour, and it seems like the directions, the mixing instructions are fairly simple and straightforward. You shake with ice, you pour over ice, you garnish with a barrel-aged cherry, a bada bing cherry, an orange slice with a splash of bitters. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to walk over to the mixing station. We're going to mix this sumbitch up, and we're going to try this out. And we will be right back.
Testing 1, 2.
And testing 3, 4.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, cheers. Thank you again for mixing that up. It looks good. It smells good. I'm about to sip it good. Holy shit.
I think that pairs pretty good.
I didn't know how good that was going to be. That's amazeballs. That's the best damn cocktail we've had since the Scotch Sour. And like I've said before, to compare is unfair, but holy smokes, this is really good. Wow, that's amazing. I don't even know how to begin to describe it. It's we're gonna have to though. It's citrusy. It's refreshing. It's sweet. It's hardly bourbon-y at all.
Yeah, I mean, with everything else mixed in there together, it's not so much that the bourbon's taking a back seat. There's just so much else going on that's pairing with all those flavors.
Yeah.
And to me, like I said, I tried this recipe about a week ago, and my first go around was great, and then I bumped up the half-ounce bourbon to a full ounce of bourbon, and then I also, originally I did it more just for an aesthetic look of that. I did that splash of bitters on top of it, but that first sip you get off of that top of that, to me, that bitter flavor that you get sitting right on top of there just takes it to another level.
It was the bitters, and there was a sweetness too, because you squeezed the cherry, barrel-aged about a bing cherry, and it married so well. And I'll be honest, I had my reservations about putting egg white in a cocktail. I mean, if dear listener, if you could see it, it's got a thin layer of kind of foaminess at the top. If you check our socials, you will see it for yourselves.
And this is definitely shaken, not stirred.
Not stirred, and you shook the bejesus out of it. It was good.
As I've been researching and looking at all these cocktail recipes,
Wow, that's good.
One of the things that I picked up on was I've seen several of recipes, especially that are made in a shaker. They talk about giving it a good hard 20-second shake.
Okay.
And which 20 seconds, when you just say it, doesn't sound like that long.
It seems like an awful long
But
time.
when you're shaking, that's a really good solid shake. And specifically for a cocktail like this that's incorporates egg whites, that shake's important because that's actually
it's going to aerate the...
As we talked about it last week when I sent you the picture of it, you're like, that sounds like a meringue.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what a meringue is. A meringue is your egg whites that are whipped.
Yeah, you whip it into a froth until it becomes a semi-solid.
Yeah. That's kind of what you're doing. As you noticed it, as I poured it, there wasn't really any sign of that white frothiness until that very end. It just kind of came out of nowhere.
And as you were shaking it and as you were pouring it, I wasn't even thinking about the egg white. Like, I didn't even think about that, I think, until we sat down. Like, oh yeah, there's egg white in here. How is this going to taste? But I don't taste anything eggy.
No.
It's just, it's fruity. It's refreshing. It's
and I think that's why they
not
are
even bitter. It's just sweet, and it's a wonderful cocktail. This is amazing.
I think that's also why most cocktails that incorporate an egg white list the egg white as an optional. I know a lot of people that
people might get weirded out by it.
I know a lot of people that they're like, nope, won't do an egg white. Nope.
No, sure.
I have a couple friends that will eat sushi all day long,
but they won't touch an egg white.
Not a raw egg. Nope.
Come on.
It's like, come on. Haven't you had raw cookie dough at some point in your childhood?
I know I have. I got the gut to prove it. Whether that be peanut butter or chocolate chip, you don't get a body like this by eating right. Let me tell you. Yeah, this okay with the optional egg white. I have to remember sometimes that we're on a podcast and we're recording, and like, you know, some of this might have to fit within some sort of time parameter. Thank you. But so like trying to describe this cocktail, it's a must try. And the egg white is optional. I don't think the egg white is optional. The egg white has to be a part of this because I don't know what it's bringing to the table. I don't know what it's not bringing to the table. I just know that right now, as is, this cocktail is a fucking 15 out of 10. I've never given anything a 10 out of 10, let alone a 15 out of 10. Listen to this. What does that tell you, dear listener? Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your voice message on this. Holy smokes, this is really good.
This is one of those that I have not had in a long time. It's one of those almost forgotten about cocktails.
Where did you hear about this? You said you had one years and years and years ago?
I've had several years and years ago. I didn't even know what was in it. As I was just kind of doing a visual scan of the liquor cabinet, I noticed my bottle of amaretto in there. So I saw that, and I was just like, oh yeah, there's a cocktail called an amaretto sour. I don't even remember what's in that. And so I started looking it up. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. Then as I kept scrolling, I found a couple variants that talked about balancing the almond flavor of amaretto with a bourbon because of the vanilla and the caramel notes that are typically there. And I was like, that sounds perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
And so this last week, I tried a couple and I played around with some different variations. And when we were tasting this neat, I was like, man, I don't know if this is the right bourbon for this cocktail. I think it is the right bourbon for this cocktail. This was really good.
Yeah, since first sip, my mind has been steadily blown. This is 1,000% amazing. I can't imagine a life without this cocktail. This is... Everybody I know has to try this. They have to. I'm going to have to buy everything you have up here on your mixing station.
I will.
And take it in a suitcase wherever I fucking go. And everybody has to try it. We're going to be on stage at some point. I'm like, you guys have to try half an eyelid shut amaretto sour.
I will tell you that...
With this whiskey that you can't get in our region.
Well, from this week alone, I will tell you that not only the Kennessee that we just just did
Right.
is amazing in this. West Bottoms Whiskey Company is also amazing in this.
Okay, so you've tried it with that one.
That was the first one I did.
That was the first one, okay.
It was fantastic. I'm down to about a half a shot of West Bottoms, so I need to...
Yeah, we need to go back.
We need to pay them a visit.
Very soon.
Yeah, and hang out and do this whole podcast thing while we're there and get them...
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Get them in front of the mic, too, and...
Yeah.
Have fun with it. But also, Woodford is also another great one for this. And there was one other one that I tried. What was it? I think it was maybe the Breckenridge bourbon.
Okay. Where's Breckenridge out of?
Colorado.
Okay.
And actually, I have
a guitar player that lives on a cul-de-sac named Breckenridge out in Blue Springs.
I think I have 4 different offerings from Breckenridge up in my cabinet right now. So maybe one of these episodes we just do a Breckenridge.
What all do you have from them?
I have their regular Breckenridge bourbon. I have a Breckenridge spiced whiskey, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
I have a Breckenridge bourbon finished in a rum cask, and then I have the barrel strength.
A lot of rum hits me like rubbing alcohol. It's really rare for me to find a rum that I can just drink neat. It always, to me anyway, it always works best in a cocktail of some sort.
Excuse me, the angels are singing. It's that barrel-aged cherry again.
Yeah, that cherry. Goodness. It seems like that's the icing on the cake. At the end of every cocktail, and it's involved with.
The angels sing as you bite into it. It is so fantastic.
Whether you believe in the Nephilim or not, the angels sitting in the flying amongst the deity throne in the throne room. Holy, holy, holy. I'm about to try mine.
And again, back to these dehydrated orange slices. The great thing is, once it's all said and done.
Oh my God, I can hear the angels singing right now.
Right. I mean,
oh my God.
It just takes it to a whole nother level.
Dear listener, I don't know if you're a believer in the sweet Lord above or not, but this cocktail right here is proof that there's a God out there somewhere, and he loves us, and he wants us to be happy. Do yourself a favor and experience this delicious cocktail, the Amaretto Bourbon Sour, featuring the Sweetens Cove, Kennessee, Kentucky, and Tennessee Bourbon Whiskey.
It's good stuff.
Amen, sister. Amen. Give me hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And then by the time you're done with it, that dehydrated orange has just enough hydration left in it that you can bite into it, and it's wonderful.
I'll take you up on that. Right meow. Right meow. There we go. I'm going to bite into it.
That was fantastic. That was a full-on potato chip crunch.
Right, it is crunchy like a classic Lay's potato chip. It was really good. It was really good, but that cherry, oh my God. There's a God somewhere. Man, a little Coming to America for you. Dear listener, before we take up any more of your time, holy smokes, that's good. We're going to have to close this out. Mr. W2, do you have any parting thoughts on this? That sums it up, doesn't it?
Just drop what you're doing and go make yourself one of these.
Right. Find this whiskey. Take a road trip if you have to. Get your hands on a bottle of the Sweetens Cove.
I mean, the crazy...
Tennessee, Kentucky, and Tennessee Bourbon Whiskey.
I mean, let's think about this for a second, though. I mean, yes...
Make a cocktail out of it.
This recipe has 1.5 ounces of Amaretto.
Right.
It has 1 ounce of bourbon, so it's got a little bit more Amaretto than the bourbon in there. Mm-hmm. But this Kennessee, the Sweetens Cove bourbon, it's 110.7 proof.
Yeah, so the 20 seconds in that ice shaker knocks the shit out of that. Not so much so that you're not going to enjoy the flavor, but you're going to get a more palatable version of it, especially, maybe not especially, but the flavor profiles are picked apart by the ice and the shaking process in a way that it will complement the amaretto and the lemon juice and the simple syrup and the subtle frothiness and whatever, you know, earthy kind of flavoring that the egg white will add to the cocktail. Everything in this recipe as described in our notes, is not the original intended recipe that you found, right? This has been adjusted by W2. So this cocktail recipe that you've heard of and that you will find later on our socials, this has been specifically engineered unbeknownst to W2. He had his reservations, but after tasting, hands on my head, like I can't imagine. Right. I can't imagine a better tasting cocktail. This was beyond superb. Are you a fan of Empire Records, the movie? All right, so when Lucas said to Joe, "You're a great boss, Joe." Superb. Say it again, Lucas. Superb. Say it again. Superb. And then Lucas gets his ass beat. This is a superb cocktail. This is the best damn cocktail I've ever had in my life. You have nailed this out of the ballpark, my friend.
Damn it, I raised the bar too high.
The bar, there is no bar. It's been vaporized in the atmosphere. It's gone, man. It's gone. Woo! It's gone. It's been Ric Flaired into the stratosphere. Woo! It's gone. So, with that, dear listener, I have to wrap this. Thank you for listening to Savor the Burn. Be sure to check us out on savortheburn.com for all updates to the liquor cabinet, all updates to our socials and where to find us. You can find us on all streaming services, including but not limited to Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcast, Google, Samsung, Pandora, and many more. You can contact us via email, info@savortheburn.com. You can email us personally, jonathan@savortheburn.com. You can email w2@savortheburn.com. And until next time, dear listener, keep on burning. Burn.